Hello, welcome to the part 2 of Sunch Academic PMP series. On this series, I'll be taking you through 20 carefully selected PMP questions equivalent to what PMI expects you to answer in your PMP exams. On this series, I'll be teaching you how to answer PMP questions, how to eliminate questions that are not relevant on first citing them. I'll teach you how to select the best answer. Questions like first, what are you going to do first? I'll be teaching you how to answer such questions. Stay tuned and follow us on this series. My name is Engineer Chidi. I'm a PMP certified project manager and ACP certified Agile certified projects professional and a risk management professional, and I hold several other certifications. Stay tuned as we look at the first question. Thank you. Question number 21. In a hybrid project, the stakeholders are requesting frequent changes in every sprint. The product owner is in support of the stakeholders and even told the project team that this is a normal occurrence in Agile. Meanwhile, this has greatly affected the team's velocity as the team's velocity keeps dropping and the delivery dates are slipping. What should the project manager focus on first? A. Ask the team to improve their productivity. B. Move the change request to a future release. C. Revisit the product vision and prioritization approach. D. Escalate the issue to the sponsor. Let's look at for the key issues in a hybrid project. This is a hybrid project. Stakeholders are requesting frequent changes. Are changes required in hybrid project? Yes, you can change at any time in every sprint. The product owner is in support of the stakeholders and even told the project team that it's a normal occurrence in Agile. Yes. Meanwhile, this has greatly affected the team's velocity as the team's velocity keeps dropping and delivery days are slipping. What should the project manager focus on first? Ask the team to improve their productivity. No, that is not the way to address it. B, move the change request to a future release. Let's go look at C, revisit the product vision and prioritization approach. Correct. This is what you can do. D, escalate the issue to the sponsor. This is out of it. We are now left with B and C. Move the change request to a future release. Normally, in Agile projects, in the middle of a sprint, you cannot stop the sprint to take in a change. You can either only move it to a new sprint. So, but that does not address the issue because it's saying that means even if you move it to another sprint, the morale of your team is still down. So the most important thing for you to do is to revisit the product vision, the Agile product vision and prioritization approach. By that, the team will understand the Agile product vision because as a project manager or the Scrum Master, it's your responsibility to educate the team on Agile project vision, that this is in line with what Agile requests, this is in line with Agile's principle. So the correct answer is C. Revisit the product vision and prioritization approach. Question number 22. Two senior stakeholders that has been identified as having high power and high influence openly disagree in meetings. Their constant disagreement is delaying decision making and the team is confused. Whose direction to follow? What should the project manager do? Facilitate a private discussion to realign the project objectives, escalate the issue to the sponsor immediately, align with the more influential stakeholder, proceed cautiously and document all decisions. Okay, let's look at this closely. Let's take out the key point: high power and high influence. In the stakeholder analysis and stakeholder matrix, assuming here is the power and this is the influence. This automatically means the stakeholders are here, they have high power and high influence. And in the stakeholder matrix, in this case, you monitor, you manage, you manage the stakeholder closely, while in this domain, you monitor the stakeholder closely. And in this domain, you satisfy the stakeholder, keep the stakeholder satisfied, and here you keep informed. So what is the answer? A, facilitate a private discussion to align project objectives. This is a good option because already they are influential, powerful, and influenced, and the constant disagreement might affect your project. B, escalate the issue to the sponsor immediately. This is not an option to take. You must first engage in what we call stakeholder engagements. Find a way to broker either peace or reach an agreement with them on the best way to manage the project. So A is better than B. The A option is preferred to B. So now let's look at compare A and C. Align with the more influential stakeholder. You don't do this. You have to be neutral in order to be able to succeed in managing the projects. This is not in line, consonance with the PMI guideline or rule. So D, proceed consciously and document all decisions. Yeah, you proceed consciously and you document all decisions. Yes, you do that, but what are you going to do to resolve the issue? Proceeding consciously alone will not solve the issue at hand. So the correct answer, we are now left with A, facilitate a private discussion to realign the project objective. This is what we call stakeholder engagements and management. Correct answer is A. The correct answer to question number 22 is facilitate a private discussion to realign the project objective. That is the correct answer, and that is the right thing to do. Question number 23. You are a project manager managing a large infrastructure project that has fallen behind schedule due to delayed approval from regulatory approving body. The technical designs are ready, materials are in sight, and the contractor proposes adding a second shift and additional workers to recover lost time. During your analysis, you notice that inspections, permits, and handover approvals remain on the critical path and are controlled by external authorities. What should you do first? Approve additional workforce to demonstrate proactive schedule recovery to stakeholders. B, rebase the schedule to reflect the approved delays, then formally communicate the new completion dates. Analyze the schedule dependency and focus on removing approved constraint before increasing resources. D, apply fast tracking by overlapping construction and inspection activities where possible. Let's look out for the keywords. Your project, you are from the question again, you are the project manager managing a large infrastructure project that has fallen behind schedule. The project has fallen behind schedule. Keyword there, due to delayed approval from regulatory approving body. This for no fault of yours. The technical designs are ready, materials are in sight, and contractor proposes adding a second shift, adding additional workers to recover lost time. During your analysis, you notice that inspections, permits, and handover approvals remain on the critical path permits and handover remains on the critical path by external authorities, what should you do first? Approve the additional workforce to demonstrate proactive schedule. You can do this, but before you do this, there are certain measures, because the question is saying, what are you supposed to do first? Now let's look at it. Re-baseline the schedule to reflect approval delays, then formally communicate the new completion date. What is baseline? Baseline, before you start any projects, you have to baseline certain key point like scope. You baseline scope. After, you must have agreed on what you want to do. Take for instance, you say you want to build 10-story building. You baseline the scope that this is the things that the project should contain. The 10-story building, intelligent building, and several car parking space, automated car parking space. These are what is expected in the scope. So you baseline it and say these are things that you have to achieve. At that point, anything you are doing should be within that scope, so that you call it the baseline. But in this case, you say the scope is schedule. You baseline the schedule, meaning that you are saying you want to complete this project in 12 months, 12 calendar months. So that is the minimum, that is the baseline that is expected of you, 12 calendar months. So re-baseline the schedule to reflect the approval delays, then formally communicate the new completion date. You can do this, but before you do this, certain things have to take place first. So let's keep this down first. C, analyze the schedule dependencies. Focus on removing approval constraint before increasing resources. Focus on removing approval constraint before increasing resources. This makes a lot of sense. Analyze the schedule dependency. What and what is dependent on this schedule? What and what is going to cause delay at this point? This is what you do during schedule dependency. If this doesn't work, how is it going to affect other factors? If the approval is not done, how is it going to affect the other things, the permits, the handover? These are things you do at schedule dependency. You analyze it and focus on removing approval constraint, things that will stop the regulatory agency from approving it. D, apply fast tracking by overlapping construction and inspection activities where possible. Well, you can do this, but this is not the first thing to do. So from all the options, the best thing and the first thing to do remains C. So C is the correct answer. The correct answer is C. Analyze the schedule dependencies. Focus on removing approval constraint before increasing the schedule. That is the correct thing to do. Question number 24. Midway into the execution of a project, quality defects began to appear across multiple work fronts. Each of the several contractors involved in the project execution insists that issues are isolated and proposes to fix their own defects independently. To avoid delay to the project, your quality audit shows that defect stems from inconsistent interpretation of specification rather than workmanship. What is the most effective action to take? Increase the inspection and frequency and reject non-conformance reports. B, issue a non-conformance report to all affected contractors. C, conduct a root cause workshop and standardize interpretation of the specification across teams. D, replace underperforming supervisors to enforce a very strict quality control measure. Okay, let's look at the question. Let's look at for the keywords. Midway into the execution of a project, quality defects began to appear across multiple work fronts. Each of the several contractors involved in the project's execution insists that the issues are isolated, okay, and proposes to fix their own defects independently to avoid delay to the project. Your quality audit shows that the defect stems from inconsistent interpretation of specification rather than workmanship. What is the most effective action to take? Increase inspection frequently and reject non-conformance report. You can do this, but what is the most effective action to take? That might not solve the issue. Okay, let's look at other option. Increase inspection. If you increase the inspection frequently, but what is responsible for the defects? We have to issue non-conformance reports to all affected contractors. This is not an effective action to take. That will conduct a root cause workshop and standardize interpretation of the specification across teams. This is a better thing to do than this other one. Than A, conduct a root cause workshop. Yeah, because once you conduct a root cause workshop, you'll be able to identify the real cause why the poor quality, for the reason for the poor quality in the job. Then that will help. Once you know the root cause, it will help you to find a permanent solution on how to eradicate the issue. And the second part is standardized interpretation of specification across the teams. Yes, once you know the root cause, you can now have a common interpretation, a common formula, a common methodology to solve the issue. Let's look at D. Replace the underperforming supervisors to enforce strict quality control measures. You can do this, but that does not really solve the issue. Why not? Because already from the option it says your quality audit shows that defect stems from inconsistent interpretation of specification. So why not help them? PMI expects you to help them interpret the specification better. So replace underperforming supervisors will not solve the issue. What if you replace with a new subcontractors or supervisors, and the next supervisor you still experience the same issue? So that might not solve it. A, let's go back to A. Increase inspection frequently and reject non-conformance reports. This will not solve it. This is a better option. So the correct answer is C. Question number 24. The correct answer is C. Conduct a root cause workshop and standardize the interpretation of the specification across teams. Options A, B, and D treat the symptoms. PMP emphasize preventive action over corrective action, and the preventive action is C, which is the root cause workshop and standardized interpretation of specification. Having a standardized interpretation across all fronts gives the permanent solution to it. Question number 25. You are managing a hybrid project that is delivering a digital system within a regulated environment. The product owner keeps prioritizing the backlog items requested by the senior executives, even though it adds little user value and increased technical depth. The development team is becoming frustrated, velocity is dropping, and the future releases are becoming riskier. What should you do? A. Escalate the issue to the project sponsor and request formal backlog approval. B. Facilitate a value-based backlog refinement session using risk, value, and compliance as criteria. C. Allow the product owner to continue prioritizing since they represent business interests. D. Freeze the backlog temporarily to stabilize team velocity. Okay, let's analyze this question. You are managing a hybrid project that is delivering digital system within a regulated environment. The product owner keeps prioritizing the backlog items requested by the senior executives, even though it has little user value and increases technical depth. The development team is becoming frustrated, velocity is dropping, and future releases are becoming riskier. What should you do next? Escalate the issue to this project sponsor and request formal backlog approval. This is too hasty. So A is out of it. Let's look at B. Facilitate a value-based backlog refinement session using risk, value, compliance, and criteria. What is refinement session? Refinement session is a session that takes place where the backlog is being modified to suit the desired goal. So C, allow the product owner to continue prioritizing since they represent business interests. But already the question is saying the project development team is becoming increasingly frustrated. So allowing the product owner to continue prioritizing since they represent business interests doesn't solve any issue. That means the development team is not carried along. But in the look at B, the value-based backlog refinement using risks. That means in this case you are carrying the development team along, because in refinement session the people involved are the project manager, otherwise known as the scrum master, the development team, and the product owner. So they come together and agree and refine the backlog. So C is out of it. D, freeze the backlog temporarily to stabilize the team velocity. This is out of it. Automatically that leaves us with one correct answer. The correct answer is B. The correct answer to question number 25 is B. Facilitate a value-based backlog refinement session using risk, value, and compliance criteria. We got this answer by eliminating all the wrong answer, and incidentally, by our analysis, this is the correct answer. So B is the correct answer. Question number 26. You are managing a politically sensitive project. Two senior stakeholders with equal authority issues conflicting instructions to the contractor. Each stakeholder insists their directive is urgent and of utmost importance, and they also accuse the project team of bias. The contractor is confused, work has slowed, and the team morale is dropping. What are you going to do next as a project manager? Ask the contractor to follow instructions that best align with the approved project plan. B, escalate the conflict to executive leadership for resolution. C, pause the affected work until written clarification is received. D, facilitate a joint discussion to clarify the decision of the authorities and align the decision to the project's objectives. So let's look at the questions. The question critically: you are managing a politically sensitive, the project is politically sensitive. Two senior stakeholders with equal authority issues a conflicting instructions to the contractor. Each stakeholder insists their directive is urgent and of utmost importance. They also accuse the project team of bias. The contractor is confused at this stage, work has slowed, and the team morale is dropping. What are you going to do as a project manager? Ask the contractor to follow instructions that best align with approved project plan. You can do this, but does this help solve the problem? I don't think so. It's out of it. B, escalate the conflict to the executive leadership for a resolution. This is an extreme case. As a project manager, what have you done to resolve the issue? Pause the affected work until written clarification is received. C, pause the affected work. Why do you have to pause the work? This is also extreme. So now let's look at D. Facilitate a joint discussion to clarify the decision of the authorities and align the decision to the project objective. Facilitate a joint discussion to clarify decisions. This looks more like the answer of the authorities and align the decision to the project objectives. This is the best answer here. So option D is the correct answer. Question number 26. The correct answer is D. Facilitate a joint discussion to clarify decision of authorities and align the decision to the project's objectives. D. Question number 27. You are managing a fast-tracked commercial building project already in the execution stage. During a coordination meeting, the electrical subcontractor reports that a critical switchgear delivery will be delayed by 6 weeks due to a manufacturer fault. The civil and mechanical works are progressing as planned. The senior management pressures you to act fast so as to recover time, while the client insists that the original completion date remains unchanged. No approved change request exists yet, and the delay is outside the contractor's control. As a project manager, what should you do first? Instruct the contractor to sequence the activities and work in parallel to absorb delay. B. Raise a change request and update the project management plan immediately. C. Escalate the matter to the sponsor and request schedule relief from the client. D. Analyze the impacts, assess alternatives, and document the issue in the issue log. Okay, let's look at it quickly. You are managing a fast-track project. The project has been fast-tracked, commercial building project already in execution. During coordination meeting, the electrical subcontractor reports that a critical switchgear will be delayed. This is the major highlight of the question, due to manufacturer default. The civil and mechanical works are progressing as planned. The senior management pressures you to act fast so as to recover time. Very important. While the client insists that the original completion date remains unchanged, no approved change request exists yet, and the delay is outside the contractor's control. As a project manager, what should you do? Let's look at the options. Instruct the contractor to resequence the activities and work in parallel to absorb the delay. You can do this, but this is not the first thing to do. What should you do first? That is what the question is asking. Raise a change request and update the project management plan. You can do this. Let's look at other option. C. Escalate the matter to the sponsor and request schedule relief from the clients. This is not the first thing to do. Escalate, and this escalation should not be what you should do first. D. Analyze the schedule impacts, assess alternatives, and document the issue in the issue log. This is the right thing to do. Before this is better than this B. You analyze the schedule impact, the impact it will have on the schedule, assess alternative. Is there any alternative option for you to take? Document the issue in the issue log. Obviously, it's already an issue, so you have to document it in the issue log. That is the correct thing to do. So the correct answer to this question is option D. Option D. The correct answer to question 27 is D. Analyze the schedule impacts and assess alternatives and document the issue in the issue log. Question number 28. On a large infrastructure project, a contractor proposes sourcing for funding external to continue work due to delayed client payment caused by unresolved legal disputes within the client's organization. A separate special funding account has been established earlier as a mitigation plan. Special funding account, but court orders have frozen all accounts related to the project. The contractor asks you as a project manager to approve a build operate transfer financing arrangement to avoid further delay. This financing model was not included in the original risk response plan. What is the most appropriate action? This financial model was not included in the original risk response plan. Okay, Let's continue. Let's look at the options. Approve the BOT arrangements since it mitigates schedule and funding risk. But the question says this financing model was not included in the original response plan. Okay, is this the right thing to do? Let's look at other option. Reject the proposal because funding strategy is the contractor's responsibility. This option is out of it. C, escalate the issue directly to the legal advisors and suspend project execution. Yes, you can do this, but that is not the first thing to do, and that is not the best thing to do. So let's look at D, evaluate the proposal as a risk response change, initiate formal change control. Yes, evaluate the proposal. The first thing to do is evaluate the proposal if it will go very well with the project, if it will all go well with the project as a risk response change, because obviously it will come with a lot of risks. So you have to analyze evaluate the proposal and see if it will work well with the project. Then initiate. Then if after your proposal evaluation and analysis you discover it will work well with the project, then you do the right thing, which is initiate formal change control. This is the best option for this question. The solution to question number 28 is D. The correct answer to question 28 is D. Evaluate the proposal as a risk response change and initiate formal change control. That is the correct. Question number 29. A project is significantly behind schedule due to unforeseen site conditions. Senior management directs you to add more skilled workers to recover lost time shortly after onboarding the new team members. Productivity drops, safety incident increase and begins to rise. The site manager argues that the workers are competent and blames poor supervision as a reason for decline in productivity. From a PMP perspective, what is the most likely root cause of the problem? When you are adding more workers, what is it called in the project management? You are crashing the project, and crashing comes with a lot of risk. It comes with a lot of risks. Okay, now let's look at the question. What is the most likely root cause of the problem? Insufficient technical competence as the newly added workers. Already question is saying skilled workers. You've added more skilled workers. So this is out of it. Poor enforcement of safety management procedures. Yeah, this could be an option, but nowhere it was mentioned that there was safety issue with the project. So let's keep this in mind first. We'll get back to it. C, increased communication complexity and coordination overhead. This is a major risk that is associated with adding more workers, because that means more communication link channel is created. So D, inadequate motivation and reward system for the expanded team. This is out of it. There was nowhere in the question that says the workers were not well motivated. So let's look at B again. Poor enforcement of safety management rule. So this is out of it. This is the most appropriate answer. Question number 29. The correct answer is C. The correct answer to question 29 is C. Increased communication complexity and coordination overhead. That is the correct answer. Question number 30. You are managing a hybrid project with both predictive construction activities and agile system integration work. Due to schedule pressure, the sponsor asks you to approve performing multiple dependent activities in parallel. The agile team supports the idea, while construction team warns that it may introduce rework. the product owner insists that speed is more important at this stage, what should you do? Approve parallel execution to maximize delivery speed. What is the meaning of parallel execution? That means you are running the activities at the same time, two activities at the same time. B, allow parallel work only for agile components where iteration is expected. This is out of it. Allow parallel work only for agile components where iteration is expected. Conduct a dependency and risk analysis before approving fast tracking. This is a good option. D, reject the request because fast tracking contradicts agile principle. Let's look at A again. Approve parallel execution to maximize delivery speed. You can approve this, but is this the best thing to do as compared to C, conduct a dependency and risk analysis? This is more like it, because before you approve of it, you have to know if its parallel activities will affect other projects that are tied to it or that are related to it. So you check the risk analysis before approving fast tracking. So option C is the correct answer. Correct answer to question number 30 is C. Conduct a dependency and risk analysis before approving fast tracking. That is the correct answer. Question number 31. This is pretty long. You are a project manager leading a busy construction project that has started slipping behind schedule. Work areas are tight, multiple trades are operating simultaneously, and rework has already occurred. To recover lost time, senior management instructs the management to mobilize more workers immediately. 2 weeks later, instead of improvement, the project manager observes more near-miss safety incidents, frequent clashes between two trade workers working in the same area, increased waiting time for tools access and approval, lower productivity per worker. During a project review, the sponsor questions why performance and safety have deteriorated after increased manpower. As a project manager, what is the most appropriate explanation for this outcome? A, the risk register was not updated quickly enough to reflect increased manpower on site. There's nowhere in this question that says that the risk register was not updated. But meanwhile, let's go to option B and C. The additional workers increased coordination and supervision demands beyond what the site could effectively manage. This is a major disadvantage of crashing a project, because when you crash a project, you increase more coordination and communication network, and most likely that increases the risk. Safety concerns, when you have a lot of workers on site, there's increases safety concerns too. So this is a good option. C, newly mobilized workers did not receive enough toolbox stocks and safety induction. There's nowhere this was mentioned in the project. D, the schedule baseline should have been formally reapproved before increasing resources. It was never mentioned that the schedule baseline, it has anything to do with the schedule baseline. So let's look at A again. The risk register was not updated quickly enough to reflect the increased manpower. This is out of it. So we are now left with only but one option, which is option B. The additional workers increased coordination and supervision demand beyond what the site could effectively manage. The correct answer to question number 31 is B. Question number 31, the correct answer is B. The additional workers increase coordination and supervision demand beyond what the site could effectively manage. Question number 32. You are a project manager executing a fast-track infrastructure project in order to recover schedule delay. Management authorizes overtime and additional resources. Progress seems to initially improve. However, after several weeks, you notice the following: increased defects requiring rework, more unresolved change requests, schedule performance stabilizing but cost variance worsening. The sponsor asks you why added effort has stopped producing meaningful gains. What will you identify as the most likely root cause? Question A, quality management plan was not revised to reflect accelerated execution. Let's leave this for now. B, schedule compression techniques were applied without reassessing downstream impact. This might be a reason. C, risk register was not updated frequently enough during the execution. This has no link to the question. D, the earned value thresholds were not recalibrated after adding resources. This is not it, because the question is you notice the following: increase the first requiring rework, more unresolved change requests. So it has nothing to do with earned value threshold. So let's look at A again. A, the quality management plan was not revised to reflect accelerated execution. This is not it at all. This is out of it. Is not related. So B is the correct answer. The schedule compression techniques were applied without reassessing downstream impacts. The correct answer to question 32 is B. The correct answer to question 32 is B. The schedule compression techniques were applied without reassessing downstream impacts. Before you apply anything, the best thing to do is reassess the downstream impact. That is the correct answer. Question number 33. A highly experienced technical specialist on a project consistently delivers excellent individual results, but frequently bypasses agreed team processes and openly challenges decisions in meetings. Several junior team members have stopped contributing ideas and collaboration has visibly declined. The specialist insists that they are just being efficient. As a project manager, what is the best action to restore team effectiveness? A, escalate the behavior to functional management due to its impact on morale. This is an extreme case. B, reinforce adherence to ground rules during team meetings. Yes, you can set ground rules during team meetings, but would that help solve the problem? Let's look at C and see if that this is the best answers. C, meet privately with the specialist to align expectations and address behavioral impacts. This is better. Question C, option C is better than option A. D, replace the specialist to prevent further disruption to team dynamics. Option C is the correct answer. Answer is C, meet privately with the specialist to align expectation and address behavioral impact. That is the correct thing to do. Question number 34. A hybrid project is delivering a software-enabled system with both predictive milestone and agile development iterations. During execution, the agile team is delivering working increments regularly Stakeholders are dissatisfied with overall progress. Several delivered features are later deprioritized or discarded. The sponsor questions whether the agile approach is adding value. What should the project manager do first? The first thing for the project manager to do: increase sprint velocity, target to improve visible outputs. Increasing the sprint velocity is not going to increase or add value. B, realign backlog prioritization and business value and milestone objective. Realign backlog prioritization. This is a good option. C, transition fully to a predictive delivery model. No, because already the question is saying it's a hybrid, transition fully to predictive, and there's no where, because it's a hybrid projects using both agile and predictive. So there's nowhere it's saying that it's predictive is responsible for the challenge you're having. So that add more detailed documentation to reduce ambiguity. Detailed documentation. So we are now left with only but one option. The correct answer to this question is realign backlog prioritization with business value. This is the key. And milestone objective. That is the correct answer. The correct answer to the question is B. The correct answer to question 34 is B. Realign backlog prioritization with business value and milestone objective. Question number 35. A project manager is leading the execution of a large commercial building project that includes a critical water pumping system. The pump has failed 3 times within 6 months. Each failure has resulted in schedule delays and overruns and stakeholder dissatisfaction. Technical report shows the pump was replaced each time within a higher rated model. Mechanical alignment was verified after installation. Preventive maintenance activities were performed as planned. No design changes were approved during execution. However, site record also indicates frequent motor trips during peak demands, voltage fluctuation during starting, repeated late changes to installation sequencing to recover schedule, no updates to the risk register after initial planning. Okay. Senior management now asks the project manager to explain why corrective action have not prevented reoccurring pump failure. This is the key. Senior management asks the project manager to explain why corrective action have not prevented reoccurring failure. What is the most likely underlying project management failure contributing to the repeated pump failure? What is the most underlying project management failure contributing to the repeated pump failure? A. Failure to select a pump with sufficient mechanical redundancy for operational resilience. Okay, let's give this a mark. This could be it, but let's see. Failure to select a pump with sufficient mechanical redundancy. B. Inadequate integration of electrical, mechanical, and scheduling risks during execution. Yeah, because what we have seen here, most of the fault is due to both electrical and mechanical challenges. Mechanical realignments, frequent motor trip, this electrical. Okay. C. Insufficient enforcement of preventive maintenance procedures by operational team. There is nowhere in this question this was mentioned, because several maintenance have been carried out. So C is likely not the answer. D, delayed. Let's leave C for now and see. D, delayed escalation of technical issues to the project sponsor for decision making. Delayed escalation. This is out of it. Before you escalate the matter, you should have a solution to it. So I think, what is the most likely underlying project management failure? Yeah, contributing to the repeated pump failure. Inadequate integration. Your inability to integrate both the electrical, mechanical, and scheduling risk during execution. This is the answer. B. Let's see. The correct answer to question 35 is B. Inadequate integration of electrical, mechanical, and scheduling risk during execution. For this type of question, you don't have to do much. All you need to do is eliminate questions that are not relevant to the question, options that are not relevant to the question, and look for option that aligns with the PMI body of knowledge. Inadequate integration looks more like it because it aligns with the PMI body of knowledge. Because once you do proper integration of both the electrical and mechanical and scheduling risks during execution, that helps you solve the question. Question number 36. A project manager is executing a large industrial project involving mechanical, electrical control system. To recover a schedule delay, management approves fast tracking of several activities that were originally planned sequentially. Shortly after, rework increased across disciplines, design clarification multiply, few teams complain about conflicting instructions, cost variance worsened despite improved schedule performance. The sponsor questions why accelerating work has created more problems instead of progress. What is the most appropriate explanation from a PMP perspective? A. Fast tracking was implemented without fully reassessing cross-discipline dependency and integration risk. This is a good option. B. Project manager failed to update the issue log frequently enough during execution. This can be the answer. Project manager failed to update the issue log enough during execution. That couldn't have affected being the main cause. C. The communication management plan did not include enough coordination meeting. Okay, let's see this for a while. The cost baseline should have been formally reapproved before fast tracking began. This is not it. Okay, now let's compare A and C. Let's look at the question. Rework increases across multiple disciplines. Design clarification multiply. Few teams complain about conflicting instructions. Cost variance worsen despite improved schedule performance. Communication management plan did not include enough coordination meeting. Yeah, this can happen. The sponsor question why accelerating work has created more problems. Instead, communication might be a problem. But let's look at A again. Fast tracking was implemented without fully reassessing, reassessing cross-discipline dependency and integration risks. This is a better option before this, because communication yes have to come, but before the communication issue, you have to reassess the cross-discipline dependency and see how it affects the project. before we now talk about communication. Communication comes second to this. What is the appropriate explanation from PMP perspective? So the correct answer is A. The correct answer to question 36 is A. Fast tracking was implemented without fully reassessing cross-discipline dependency and integration. This is a very good question. Now, we are now in question 37. Let's see. During the execution of a high-rise building project, multiple equipment failure occurs during execution, including pumps, motors. Each failure is addressed individually and replacements are installed promptly. Good. Despite this, failure continued. Schedule buffers are consumed. Stakeholders lose confidence. Analysis review shows that risk response were identified during planning. Okay, the analysis review shows that risk response were identified during planning, but no major updates were made during execution. Okay, risks were identified during planning. Don't forget that risks should be continuous. You should continually identify risks and check what is happening, if there is a change, if it needs to be modified. Okay, now let's continue. What is the primary reason the failure keep reoccurring? A. The original risk response were inadequate and should have been redesigned. Nowhere in the question that mentioned this, that the original risk response were inadequate. What the question said is that risk was only captured during planning, but no major update during execution. Okay. Risks were treated as static and not reassessed as execution condition changed. This can be it. Corrective actions were not formally approved through change control. Nowhere it was mentioned in the question. These are distractions. D. The quality management plan focused more on inspection than prevention. Nowhere this was mentioned. So we are left with, we've eliminated 3. We are left with B. But now let's look at B again and compare it with A. The original risk response were inadequate and should have been redesigned. Okay, compare A and B. Risks were treated as static. Don't forget that risk is supposed to be progressive. You keep adjusting, you keep identifying new risks as the project continues. So not assessing, not reassess as execution condition change. This is the correct answer. So the correct answer to question number 37 is, because you said it was not reassessed during execution. Condition keeps changing. Things, new risk comes up and it should be identified and solution should be provided. So the correct answer to 37 is B. Risks were treated as static and not reassessed as execution condition changed. That is the correct answer. Question number 38. A senior technical expert on a project consistently delivers high quality outputs, but frequently overrides agreed processes, dismisses inputs from other team members. Over time, junior engineers disengage, collaboration drops, errors increase due to lack of peer review. One expert insists that their approach is more efficient. What should the project manager do to most effectively address the situation? This question is saying, let's look at it again. A senior technical expert on a project consistently delivers high quality output but frequently overrides agreed processes and dismisses input from other team members. No teamwork. Okay. Junior engineers disengage, collaboration drops, errors increase due to lack of peer review. Key points. One expert insists their approach is more efficient. What should the project manager do to most effectively address the situation? A. Reinforce process compliance during team meeting. Okay, you can do this. B. Escalate the behavior to functional manager. This is out of it. C. Privately address the behavioral impacts while aligning expectations and team norms. This is the answer. Okay, let's look at D. Reassign the expert to independent work to reduce friction. This is reactive. This is addressing the situation. Privately address the behavioral impacts while aligning expectations and team norms. Aligning expectations and team value, what you expect to achieve. So the correct answer to question number 38 is C. Privately address the behavioral impacts while aligning expectations and team norms. That is the correct answer. Question number 39. A hybrid project combines predictive milestone with agile delivery of system components. The agile team delivers increments regularly. Okay, but stakeholders complain that completed features are later prioritized or discarded. Okay, metrics show stable velocity, high team engagements, poor realized business value. The sponsor questions whether the agile approach is appropriate. What should the project manager do first? Increase sprint velocity target to improve throughput. What is throughput? Total work done over time taken or total work done within a sprint. Increase sprint velocity. This should not be the first thing to do. Transition the remaining work to a fully predictive model. Okay, let's see another option. Introduce more detailed documentation before sprint execution. This is out of it. Realign backlog prioritization with milestone objectives and business value. This is the correct answer. Realign backlog prioritization with milestone objectives and business value. The prioritization has to align with the objective of the project and the business value. So the correct answer to question number 39 is D. The correct answer to question 39 is D. Realign backlog prioritization with milestone objectives and business value. Question number 40. Your team is halfway through executing a multi-site construction project. When a subcontractor informs you that they cannot deliver a critical structural component on time due to supply chain disruptions, the delay threatens overall project schedule. Definitely. What should you do first? What should be the first thing you should do? Evaluate the impact of the delay on the project schedule and identify the potential mitigation strategy. This is very correct. Let's look at other options. Meet with the subcontractor to discuss alternative suppliers or delivery option. You can do this. Notify the stakeholders about the potential delay. You do this, but this is not the first thing for you to do. D. Adjust project management plan and reschedule affected activities. You can do this, but this is not the first thing for you to do. The correct answer is actually A, because you have to first evaluate the impact of the delay on project schedule and identify potential mitigation strategy. It is when you must have identified potential mitigation strategy that you meet the subcontractor to discuss alternative supplies or delivery options. This should be the second thing to do. Then, after that, you now think of project management plan, adjusting the project management plan and reschedule affected activities. It is when you must have determined the delay. So the correct answer is A. The correct answer to question number 40 is A. Evaluate the impact of the delay on project schedule and identify potential mitigation strategy. Thank you for following us. If you did enjoy this question, look out for our next episode on such academic YouTube page. Thank you very much.